Hey everyone, what's up? Jammer here from Jammer's Wrestling Magazine Collection, and I thought let's do another video today on the year 1986. Of course, 1986, the year of WrestleMania 2, and that was a big event. 3 locations, for the pay-per-view. We had New York, we had Chicago, we had Los Angeles, plus on top of that, we had the first ever Jim Crockett NWA Crockett Cup big tag tournament there. Plus, we had, Starrcade 86. And it was a pretty big year. Saturday night's main events were going well, going strong. So let's get into it. Let's get into 1986. And we start with January 86 for PWI. We get an exclusive photos of a lifetime Hulk Hogan from the cradle to the throne. Does that mean we're going to see photos of the Hulkster on the toilet? I don't really know, but let's take a look here at the poster inside, if we got one. We do. It's of Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Tough guy. Look at him there. Looking good. That's definitely from his Mid-South era, that look. From The Wrestler, January 86, we got... It's the 20th anniversary celebration. We got Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Bruno Sammartino, and Dusty Rhodes on the cover there. We got a color section in here. We got Bruno looking like Bruno, as Bruno does. There's the Nature Boy, the Hulkster with hair. And we got the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby. So we got them all there. I guess those were the big 4 stars for the 20th anniversary poll. For Inside Wrestling, January 86, we get Rick Steamboat versus Magnificent Muraco, the Volcano Rumbles. Will this feud erupt into uncontrollable violence? That was one hell of a feud back in 1985 between those two. So that was pretty cool that they made the cover here. And we get Mike Von Erich's Courageous Fight for Life. Of course, Mike... remember what happened? He got sick or something. He was in the hospital, really high temperature and whatnot, but he did make it out at the time. Of course, later on, Mike Von Erich wouldn't fare well, unfortunately. But for then, things were okay. Sports Review Wrestling, January 86. We got Abdullah has finally gone too far. Look at him. He's destroying Manny Fernandez's forehead, bloodied him up. And we get Randy Savage too macho for Tito Santana. So that's pretty sweet. We also get, next up, February. Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Mike Von Erich's brush with death. Tragedy has made my family stronger, says Kevin Von Erich. I need a new one for that. Look at that. That is a bad sign when the cover is off the staples, but what can you do, right? Is there a poster in this one? No, so I'm missing the poster in that one too, so that one could use an upgrade down the road. February 86 for The Wrestler. Hulk Hogan's trust pays off. Paul Orndorff is the best partner I've ever had. That's going to come back to haunt the Hulkster in due time now, isn't it? And Starblaze, the burning hatred between Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. Inside Wrestling, February 86. We got 3 former championship teams face the battle of their lives. We see the Rock and Roll Express, Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, and the Road Warriors. And down here we got Blackjack Mulligan compares his sons Kendall and Barry Windham. Well, there's not really much to compare. No offense to Kendall, but Barry Windham was the star, the better brother, the better wrestler, I think. That's just my opinion, though. Sports Review, February 86. We got Beware of Dog. Junkyard Dog puts the bite on Terry Funk. So, JYD and Terry Funk were now starting a program in the WWF. All thanks to, I think it was because Terry Funk, attacked Mel Phillips, right? Which was kind of funny, though, when you watch the video of it. Here we go. We have March of 86 for PWI. You know what this means. Achievement 85. The fans choose wrestling's best. And look at that cover. We got Nature Boy Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, and Animal and Hawk, the Road Warriors. All great superstars of this era. Let's take a look at who won what now for this. does this start off with? Starts off with Rookie of the Year was the Barbarian. No, not the Barbarian with the Warlord, but Nord the Barbarian, being John Nord. He was the winner. And we had Kendall Windham, Starship Eagle, who's Danny Spivey, and Sam Houston as the runner-ups there. So, what an interesting year for rookies. Most Improved Wrestler of the Year was Steve, Dr. Death Williams. He took that one in 85. Most Hated Wrestler of the Year was Roddy Piper. He got that one. Look at the hot rod there, being smug. Ric Flair was Wrestler of the Year with Hulk Hogan, Rick Martel, and Sergeant Slaughter as the runners-up. Hulk Hogan was Most Popular Wrestler of the Year with Magnum TA, Kerry Von Erich, and Tito Santana as the runners-up. Road Warriors were Tag Team of the Year, no surprise there, with Ted DiBiase and Steve Williams, Ivan Koloff and Nikita Koloff, and Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldogs, as the runners-up. And Match of the Year was Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff from WrestleMania 1. That's, you know, a great match. Helped build WrestleMania as to what it was. Manager of the Year, Jim Cornette with Lou Albano, Paul Ellering, and Bobby the Brain Heenan as the runners-up. Inspirational Wrestler of the Year was Mike Von Erich. He took that one. And we got Dan Shockett was Editor's Award. Of course, Dan Shockett wrote for PWI and the wrestling magazines, and unfortunately had passed away due to cancer, I believe it was. So he was like the first heel, heel writer for wrestling, and then of course that got taken over after he died. My goodness, I can't think of his name right now, and that's ridiculous because I should know it. Eddie Elner. Is that his name? Eddie Elner? I think that was his name, if I remember correctly. Anyways, March of 86 for the wrestler. We got Lance Von Erich stuns Ric Flair. I finally earned the Von Erich name. And we have a sweet photo here of Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake, the tag champs, the dream team. Valentine and Beefcake, dog food for Albano's British Bulldogs. In time, that would happen at WrestleMania 2. This is a sweet photo. March of Inside Wrestling. Look at that. Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham on the cover there, holding the... No, that's not the WWF Tag Team titles. No, those are the Florida Tag Team titles. And I remember as a kid, I always thought that that was the WWF Tag titles they were holding, because they looked a lot like those belts back in 85. Only I guess they were silver, right, back then in the WWF. But as a kid, I didn't know any better. But that's a damn cool looking photo of Mike and Barry there. And too bad it wasn't even... I'd like to have that even bigger. That would have been nice to have the full cover of that. Sports Review for March. We get Starrcade 85, all the action, all the glory, talking about the show there. That, of course, we see Tully and Magnum in the I Quit match. We see the Rock and Roll Express and the Koloffs. We see Flair and Dusty. And like I said, Sports Review Wrestling always went into great detail about these events. Lots of photos. Sure, they were black and white, but lots of photos. You know, let's see here if I can find where Starrcade is in here. Yeah, right here. Look what I mean. Lots. So they go full detail. Definitely, if you like the events, Sports Review Wrestling is the magazine you want to see what happened. Spring of 86 for Wrestling 86, we got this sweet one with Barry Windham on the cover. Barry Windham, the man who said no to the WWF. That's a nice shot of Barry there. Unfortunately, I do not have the Wrestling Superstars for spring of 86. That's the only one I'm missing in 1986. So that's not too bad. I'm hoping to get it one day if I come across it. But for PWI April 86, we got Wendy Richter, more popular than Hulk Hogan? No. No, definitely not. Color pinup here's of Ric Flair. Do I have it? I do. The Nature Boy, the NWA World Champion. But yeah, Wendy Richter making the PWI cover there. April 86 for the wrestler. For the love of Elizabeth, Randy Savage must beat Hulk Hogan. And he, fortunately, Mach never did, I don't believe, and any time did. I don't think Mach ever beat Hogan. They had a lot of cool matches together, and if he did beat him, it was by countout or disqualification, but never a pinfall. And if there was one, please let me know. But as far as I know, even in WCW, I'm pretty sure Macho Man never pinned Hogan. Inside Wrestling, April 86. We got Starrcade's over, but the feud rages on. Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair cannot survive 86. There's a nice bloody photo of Dusty there. Dusty liked to bleed in his matches every once in a while, didn't he? Sports Review Wrestling, April 86. Quitter, the label that haunts Rick Martel. Of course, that being when Rick Martel lost the AWA World Championship to Stan the Lariat Hansen. Is there photos, colored photos in here? No, I saw the year in pictures. I thought there might be photos, but colored photos. But black and white ones, still pretty decent, right? We now have May of 86, and we have the Road Warriors. They want you. Hey, twerp, do you have the guts to meet us? That's an interesting one. Do I have the... do I have a photo in here of them? You know what? Hold on. I have 2 copies of this. And I bet you the reason why is because I have the poster in one of these. I do. There it is. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is in that one. The reason why I kept those 2 is I believe in this one here, it's cut up, I believe. There's a part of the Road Warriors thing that's cut up because you can like mail in the thing to meet them, and this one here doesn't have it cut up, so I had to keep both because I'm ridiculous like that, right? I need to have everything that I can. May of 86 for the Wrestler. Von Erich family feud. Is Lance coming between Kevin and Kerry? We got Kevin, Lance, and Kerry there. Of course, Lance not really a real Von Erich, but he looked the part, and that's all that really mattered. And Tito Santana shuts Jesse Ventura's mouth. A champion does his fighting in the ring. Of course, Jesse was still doing the odd match, right? In 86, 85. So he wasn't really fully retired until, I'm not even sure, maybe late 86. May 86 for Inside Wrestling, though. Randy Savage, WWF Champion. What would this mean to wrestling? It did happen in 1988, but this is a different era of what it would mean. And like I said, Macho and Hogan had really, really great matches together. May of 86 for Sports Review Wrestling. The Rock and Roll start over. Can they make it to the top again? We have Missy Hyatt versus Sunshine, the War of Hatred and Spite. And Bruno's back to stay. I'm here to shut up the loudmouths. So Bruno, again, starting back in WWF and wrestling again. He was in WrestleMania 2 in the Battle Royal. Next up, June of 86. Randy Savage proves Hulkamania is dead. Will WrestleMania 2 make it live again? That's pretty bold to say. Do we have a colored photo in here? We do. It's of Kevin Von Erich, the Golden Warrior. Man, that guy was built, eh? I say that as a straight heterosexual male, but Kevin Von Erich, quite the body on him. Let's be honest. June 86. The Wrestler. We have Hulk Hogan's route to Roddy Piper. Discard the ace to get to the Joker. And Kerry reveals his secret. I've told Magnum TA how to beat Ric Flair. Oh, I could say a horrible joke there, but I won't. Let's see. June 86 for Inside Wrestling. Barry Windham's NWA mission. Humiliate Ric Flair. Oh, he did, kind of. Did he? No. Not for a while. Barry may have got the best of Rick in non-title matches, but never beat Rick for a title. In the dog days in the WWF, and the fans love it. And look at that. Bulldogs and the Dream Team still going strong. Getting ready to compete at WrestleMania 2 in Chicago. And this sets it up right here. Sports Review Wrestling, June 86. False alarm. Hulk Hogan rises from the ashes of Phoenix. That, of course, being the Saturday night's main event match where Hogan and Morocco wrestled and Bundy came down and destroyed Hogan, setting up WrestleMania 2. And there we have 10 reasons why the Midnight Express are better than the Road Warriors. And mainly probably because they're champions here. That's a good reason, I would think. Summer of Wrestling 86. We got Hulk Hogan. Is he strong enough to survive the fallout of WrestleMania 2? And he did. He survived it for quite a bit of time, let's be honest now. And Wrestling Superstars, summer of 86. Special bonus feature, the champions, the men most likely to take their titles. We got Ric Flair's NWA champ, Hulk Hogan, WWF champ, and Stan Hansen, AWA champ. Plus a photo action gallery of the Road Warriors. Photo color action gallery of the Road Warriors. Is that even in here? Probably not. Nope. So I'm missing that. Let's see. July 86 for PWI. The Rock and Roll Express, #1 with a bullet. There's Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson right there on the cover, looking good. Selling tickets, selling merchandise. And we got King Kong Bundy as the centerfold here. The Atlantic City Nightmare getting ready to pounce on Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 2. The Wrestler, July 86. How King Kong Bundy became the WWF's most hated man. And we got, he bends, but he won't break. Ric Flair cannot be beaten. And that's Rugged Ronnie Garvin, who he's dealing with there. But yeah, Bundy now as a big deal. You know, he's the main heel coming after Hogan. So that's exciting. If you're a fan of the bad guys and hating Hogan at the time, you'd want to see Bundy destroy Hogan. For July 86 Inside Wrestling, we got All-American Special Issue. We got Sergeant Slaughter, Hulk Hogan, and Magnum TA. I don't know if there's colored photos in here. No. But it just talks about those stars. Still kind of neat to see those three on the cover there together, showing that Magnum TA was as big as Hogan and Slaughter for popularity and main event status. So that's kind of neat. Sports Review, July 86. The bare facts behind Paul Orndorff's humiliation of Roddy Piper. And we got Tully Blanchard. Magnum TA and his fans can go to hell. So that's kind of blunt to say, but that's Tully for you. But yeah, there we go. Orndorff and Piper still working together in a feud. That feud would go on for a really long time, actually. Next up is August. August of 86. PWI, an emotional tug of war, the inner forces that are tearing apart Randy Savage. Look at that sweet photo there of the Macho Man on the cover of PWI. See, is Dusty Rhodes in here for the centerfold? He is. There's the American Dream, Stardust himself, Dusty Rhodes. For the Wrestler, August 86, we have The Empire Strikes Back. The British Bulldogs win the WWF Tag Team title. That, of course, happened at WrestleMania 2. And Paul Ellering's shocking statement, the Road Warriors can't beat the Midnight Express. I just wish this was a bigger photo of the Bulldogs, and even with them holding the titles, that looks like it's a show from Japan. If not Japan, definitely from Maple Leaf Gardens with those ropes, right? They're all black, so they don't look like the red, white, and blue that we're used to seeing on WWF. Next up here, we got August 86 for Inside Wrestling. WrestleMania 2, Hulk Hogan's Night of Redemption. There's Hogan and Bundy in the cage on the cover there. And we get Jim and Ronnie Garvin, Blood Brothers or Brothers in Blood. This should have been a bigger photo, I feel. WrestleMania 2 was a huge deal, and I don't really think Garvin and Garvin needed to be on the cover. A giant shot of Hogan and Bundy there definitely would have helped sell that magazine a little better. That's just my opinion. But Sports Review, August of 86, we got the Road Warriors win the greatest tag team tournament in history. That, of course, being the Crockett Cup tournament, which I talked about earlier on. And, of course, Road Warriors ended up defeating Magnum TA and Ronnie Garvin in the finals to take that trophy. And that, I believe it was like $1 million, apparently. And yeah, they took that. They of course they were going to win. They're the Road Warriors. How can they not win that? September of 86 for PWI. Supercards 86. There it is, talking about WrestleMania 2, the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup Tournament, David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions, and Wrestle Rock 86. We got colored photos in here, which is nice. There's WrestleMania 2 stuff. So at least PWI went well with this. There's Crockett Cup. We got a centerfold here. There's Bruiser Brody and Terry Bam Bam Gordy in a barbed wire match. We got Hogan and Bundy in the centerfold here. Hogan kicking Bundy down off the cage. Animal and Magnum TA there going at it. There we see some Crockett Cup stuff. And more photos. And then stuff about this show. Which is funny because I always wondered, I remember reading this, I was like, this all seems familiar to me. Why does that all seem familiar to me? And it's because I owned this magazine as a kid, Wrestling USA, which I was talking about earlier on. This is actually one of the Wrestling USA magazines I'm going to keep because I did own it as a kid. But they end up having all the same stuff in here. That's why it all looked familiar to me. So that makes sense now as to why when I was looking through this, why a lot of that stuff was like familiar and nothing else was. I'm like, how is this even possible? Did my mind block out certain things? But no, it was information in another magazine that I owned as a kid. So that makes more sense. September 86 for the wrestler. Rick Morton challenges Ric Flair and asks his fans, should I quit the Rock and Roll Express? Ricky Morton had some great matches with Ric Flair. And apparently, from what Ricky Morton said in a shoot interview, I believe it was the timeline of the NWA 1986 that he did with kayfabe commentaries with Sean Oliver, that Dusty Rhodes had it planned for Rick Morton to be world champion. But to do so, he'd have to give up the Rock and Roll Express, and Robert would get let go and lose his job. And Ricky said, no, I'm not doing that to my best friend, my brother, I'm not going to do that to my partner and Robert. So Ricky never did win the world title. He remained with Robert, and that's when things started to change for Dusty and Ricky. And remember, by early 1988, the Rock and Roll Express were gone from the territory, from the NWA. So I remember hearing things. Dusty didn't like how popular the Rock and Roll Express were and such. So, I don't understand how you couldn't, if you're a booker and such in a territory. Wouldn't you want to make money and use these guys who are over to help yourself make money? I don't get it. Whatever. I guess that's probably why I'm not in wrestling. I wouldn't understand that. Inside Wrestling, September 86. Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA. America's team is not out for glory. It's out for revenge. And look at Magnum's forehead there, all bloodied up and, scarred up. And we get Andre's career at the crossroads. Hulk Hogan will soon feel the Giants' rage. They're already kind of setting that in motion right there back in September of 86. For fall of 86, for Wrestling 86, we get Nikita Koloff's assault on Magnum TA's U.S. title. Will America wake up to a Russian nightmare? That was one hell of a feud. One hell of a just an amazing bloody war that those two had. And I would have loved to have seen it continue on as years went on, but unfortunately it didn't because of Magnum's car accident. I'll see, is there a... Yeah. Now, what's the next one here? Oh, we got fall of 86. Wrestling Superstars. Rating the wrestlers in an in-depth analysis of the sport's top 20 stars. We see Hogan and Inoki, Duggan and Dick Slater, and Nikita Koloff and Ricky Morton. Is there an action gallery in here? Oh, there is. It's actually in here. Bruiser Brody. So that makes the cut. Very cool. And we got guys talking about Bruiser like Kerry Von Erich, Gary Hart, Stan Hansen, Jimmy Snuka, and Giant Bubba. All talk about the Bruiser one, Bruiser Brody. Next. Oh, I forgot. September 86 for Sports Review. Glad I just noticed that. We have the British Bulldogs living on the edge of disaster. So there's, again, that's from Japan right there, Dynamite Kid. So I don't know why they're using all this Japan footage of the Bulldogs, but maybe this didn't have the WWF footage. I don't know. 4. PWI, October 86. It's Nikita Koloff. Unhappy birthday, America. Nikita Koloff takes aim at the Rock and Roll Express, the Road Warriors, Dusty Rhodes, and Magnum TA. Let's take a look at see, is Big John Studd the centerfold in here? He is. Big John Studd. I think was going by the name the Giant John Studd here, because I think Andre was doing the Giant Machine gimmick, if I recall correctly. October 86 for the Wrestler. Summer, Bloody Summer, the red hot war between Nikita Koloff and Magnum TA. There it is right there, talking about it. And we got Bruno thrives in Hogan's Garden. Will Sammartino become the WWF's #1 man again? No, he did not. Inside Wrestling, October 86. We got the NWA Championship sinks to a new low. Ric Flair needs 10 thugs to defeat Lex Luger. Not Lex Luger yet, Luger. And we got the Macho Man there. WWF Intercontinental Champion Randy Savage. 5 contenders who can take his title and 5 who can't. So, it's a good shot of Macho. I wish that was a bigger photo of him, actually. Sports Review. This is huge. October 86, we got WWF in turmoil. Orndorff attacks Hogan. Saying there it is, Mr. Wonderful attacked the Hulkster. Pile drove him. Why didn't Hogan just answer that phone, right? Wasn't that the storyline there? But Orndorff rejoining the Heenan family, helping Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy attack the Hulkster. Craziness, man. That was craziness. Plus, we got Let the Bash Begin. Philadelphia opens the Great American Bash special section, talking about that. Of course, Sports Review Wrestling, always known for covering the events really well. Next up, November of 86. We got PWI and we got Bulldog versus Bulldog. It really happened, and we have the photos. So there it is on the cover there. We got Davey and Dynamite, and the color photo here is of Baby Doll, Dusty's personal what? Personal baby doll, I guess? I really don't know, but there it is. A great magazine. I wanted this magazine for years. Like I said before in an older video in the library, look back if you want to see it. I mentioned how I used to see it advertised all the time in the magazines, and I always wanted it. I loved the Bulldogs as a kid. Now I own it. I own 2 copies of it. So I feel like I've reached my dream in that. Wrestler, November 86. We got Morton and Gibson take a trip to Bad Street, USA. The Rock and Roll Express versus the Fabulous Freebirds. And Hulk Hogan versus Paul Orndorff. The misunderstanding that turned into a bloody vendetta. That, of course, being the missed phone call. What a great storyline that is. A missed phone call created so much drama. You couldn't have that happen nowadays with cell phones, could you? Well, I mean, I guess you could still miss a phone call on a cell phone, but you can text the person. There's not really a reason why someone can't answer back nowadays. Inside Wrestling, November 86, Paul Ellering's own story, how my Road Warriors made Dusty Rhodes NWA World Champion. There's Hawk and Ric Flair on the cover there. And we see the British Bulldogs. Are they good enough to beat the Road Warriors, the Rock and Roll Express, the Fabulous Freebirds, and more? I don't know, probably. I mean, Bulldogs were pretty built, pretty big dudes. And I could see them going up against the Road Warriors and having it be believable. I mean, Hawk Animal will probably have them in height, but man, it would still be quite the battle of meat against each other, wouldn't it? Let's see. Next up, we got November 86 for Sports Review Wrestling. The Andersons' Bloody Vow will wreck and rule the rock and rolls. And we see You Can't Fool the Fans. That's Andre the Giant Machine. And, of course, at the top here, we got UWF champion Terry Gordy. It takes a tough man to rule a tough federation. So that's pretty sweet there. Of course, Andre still the Giant Machine at this time. December of 86 for PWI. We got the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes on the cover with the brand new big gold belt, the NWA World Championship. Dusty's first time holding that version of it. We also show other clips from the Great American Bash there, like Baby Doll and the Rock and Roll Express, Nikita Koloff and Magnum TA, and Road Warrior Animal and Ric Flair. Let's take a look inside here. We got the center stuff here is of just the Great American Bash. Some photos, shots there of it. And that's all you get. But they really go into detail, showing you photos of the Great American Bash. If you like the Bash, you like Dusty Rhodes, definitely a magazine worth owning in your collection. And of course, Dusty's title reign didn't last long, because in December of '86 as well, for the wrestler, Ric Flair's 4th NWA title reign, last chance to quiet the critics. So there's Nature Boy with the belt right there. And we got warning to Hulk Hogan: if you trust Rowdy Roddy, you'll pay the piper. Of course, Piper now turning into a good guy and still feuding with Mr. Wonderful, just the roles are reversed now. Next up, Inside Wrestling, December '86, we got Rock and Roll Revival. Morton and Gibson regain the NWA World Tag Team title, and Hogan versus Adonis, the match that disgraced the WWF title down there. But yes, look at that. Sweet shot of the Rock and Roll Express, and once again, World Tag Team Champions. I believe that would be for the 3rd time, I want to say. That's when they defeated the Midnight Express. They would go on to lose them to Rick Rude and Manny Fernandez, beat them for it, and that was be their last reign in the Jim Crockett NWA for that. They would go on to win the NWA tag titles in other NWA territories for like years after. December of '86 for Sports Review Wrestling, Machine Madness in the WWF. Who are they? Why they're here? Will there be more? There we see Big Machine, Super Machine, and the Giant Machine right there on the cover. Of course, that would be Demolition Axe, Blackjack Mulligan, and Andre the Giant. Wrestling '86 for winter, we have a sizzling no-holds-barred interview, '86, with WWF head Vince McMahon. McMahon on Hogan, he's burning himself out. McMahon on Snuka, a basket case. McMahon on Flair, I just don't think he can measure up to Hogan. This, of course, is a transcript taken from the Larry King interview that Vince McMahon did back at the time on Larry King Live, and it goes into full detail. There's Larry King right there proving it, and it's a long interview. Like it continues on page 52, and I want to say, yeah, see right there, they're still talking about this is 56, so it's a long interview. Definitely cool, and it's before its time. Kind of broke kayfabe, kind of talked about things you weren't really supposed to know, and it was kind of neat to see that even back here in 1986. Last one we have, winter '86, Wrestling Superstars, Superstar Dream Match, Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan. That dream match would come true in 1991, 1992, again in 1994, all the way through until like, what, 2000? But yeah, maybe even late 2002, I think Hogan wrestled Flair on Raw. So do we have and the colored thing here is of Ricky Morton, wrestling sexiest superstar. There he is. And let's see who talks about Ricky in this one. We got Ric Flair, Robert Gibson, Jim Cornette, Jerry Lawler, and Terry Taylor all talking about Ricky Morton, which is kind of unique that Terry Taylor was here, because Ricky Morton would go heel in '91 as Richard Morton and join Terrence Taylor's York Foundation. So that's kind of interesting there. So there we go. 1986. A lot of craziness happened. Like I said, WrestleMania 2, three cities hosted that. We saw Saturday Night's Main Event shows still bringing huge ratings. We saw Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff turn on Hulk Hogan. We saw Rowdy Roddy Piper become a fan favorite in the WWF. We saw the British Bulldogs have amazing matches with the Dream Team, with the Hart Foundation. It was just even Sheik and Volkov, Bulldog had good matches with. We saw the debut of Wrestling Challenge and WWF Superstars of Wrestling in September of 1986 for syndication. We saw in the NWA, the Great American Bash with Dusty Rhodes winning the belt and the cage off Flair. We saw the Four Horsemen still go strong in '86, and it was just a really, really big year still in wrestling. We had a lot of territories. We still had Florida wrestling. We still had Mid-South wrestling, which was now the UWF. We had the AWA. We had a lot of stuff going on. We had World Class Championship Wrestling in Texas. So 86 was a solid year. It was a blood and guts year. That's how I describe '86, blood and guts. It was just a lot of just hardcore violent matches in a lot of the stuff. Even WWF, the cage matches on the house shows with the Dream Team and the Bulldogs were bloodied matches from what I saw photos of and whatnot. Just a really gritty year, a really hard year. It was 1986. A lot of feuds and a lot of just really strong matches. So 86 was an interesting year, a fun year in that regards. I was 5 years old, going on 6 in November that year. So my memory of seeing things as it happened then, probably not the best. I believe I did see Randy Savage put the ring bell to Ricky Steamboat's throat, and I think that was November of 86 on Superstars. But, it was just hit or miss if I would watch wrestling then, if I knew it was on then, or if I even remember now what I saw, right? That's so long ago. Anyways, what's everyone's favorite memory of 1986? Or favorite wrestler, favorite matches, favorite wrestling organization? There's a lot to choose from here. Love to hear what you have to say. Again, I'm up to like 209 subscribers now. I cracked the 200 number. Wow, impressive, incredible. Thank you so much for watching these, for coming along on the ride with these. It's fun. It's cool to talk wrestling, to remember things, to learn things as I go too, which is very cool. So any people out there watching, please leave a comment. Tell me what you enjoyed about 1986. Thank you so much for subscribing and enjoying these videos. And until I do another video, I'll talk to you guys later.